A lot of YouTubers are saying Bitcoin is going to go past the moon and on to Mars, and these three charts kind of agree with it. In this episode, I'm going to explain exactly what you're seeing here and why this is so bullish. Let's start off with the relative strength index. Looking way back in history, I've long been looking for the relative strength index to do an uptrend, and it was on the way for an uptrend, but we had a little blip there with coronavirus resetting the world and giving us trillions of extra dollars to play with. So I think that this is going to go into a bullish stance from where we are, and it's going to be really crazy. The thing is, to see how big it's going to go is to go into the logarithmic charts, because when we are looking at this, we have something similar to this or similar to this that's going on right now, just as we're crossing over the exponential moving average on the weekly time frame. This is an enormous top formation, and breaking above that is sort of beyond what we're normally used to thinking about for price moves. As we're going into these kind of scales and we say we're just going to break up from this, just doing basic technical analysis, expecting it would go half of this distance, right? Stand this thing up, there would be half of the distance. And it is the $250,000 that Tim Draper has been saying for a long time. I would say that he knows a bit more about money than I do, but this logarithmic chart really supports what he's saying, and a lot of other Bitcoiners are saying. Is it going to be just a straight line up like I've drawn? Absolutely not. It's going to be really crazy. There's going to be a lot of dumping and running and dumping and running all the way up. And so we want to be ready for the dump and the run, because actually that's where the real money is made in trading. It's not in your initial position, it's on the add-on positions. After it's pulled back and it's continuing on the trend, that's when you can put on your big trades. So let's zoom in on this. If you want to know more about that trading approach, be sure to go over to the website introtocryptos.ca and get the free webinar. Put your email address in, you get the core of our lifetime trading course that I charge over $1,000 for. I put that into this training on purpose, so that people who don't have money get this information. It's not fair that it should only be available to people who can pay for it. So the extra training, the extra support, the extra service, those are fees that you can upgrade to, but the main training is for free. That's why I do these videos as well. One thing I want to look at here on the daily view is that we do have a very significant divergence in the relative strength index. I'm still looking at the log view. Let's go to normal. But that is something to pay attention to, that we could easily come back and go sideways. Wouldn't be a worry at all for the overall uptrend. Instead, it would give us another place to be thinking of finding that add-on position. So I'm not too worried about that. Let's go in. On the 12-hour time frame, this looks like it's just pulling back and getting ready for the next leg up, which sometimes the divergences look like a divergence, but it isn't. It's just the market getting ready for another run. You know, someone's knocking on your door and it goes quiet for a second. It's not because they left. They're just backing up to run at the door. So that's what I'm feeling is going on here, is that everything is just building up steam a little bit, and it's going to go way higher out of this. Thousands of dollars in a single day, jaw-dropping, short, curling, nasty move. And it could be right now out of this setup that's building up. We can see the pressure building up in this. It's not a bearish divergence. Let's go into the next volume. So in the long-term volume, we can look back over here and see there's going to be a lot more coming. It's going to really dwarf what we're seeing here. I just want to zoom in now to the USDT chart. Here we're looking at the weekly. Let's quickly go through daily. We got the dump there. It's coming back. Going into the 12-hour, it's not really pulled up into hard volume yet. We're going to, okay, now we're starting to see that this was pretty good buying volume going down there. And you know, while this buying volume happened, I didn't start out with this, but look at the shorts having built up through this period of time, and the longs built up through this period of time. So while we had this volume build up here, it was from speculators, longs and shorts, getting ready to fight against each other. So if this breaks higher, those shorts are going to get wrecked real fast. And we're going to see those liquidations go through on the Bitcoin Liquidation Watch YouTube channel. It's an ongoing stream that you can search for, Bitcoin Liquidation Watch, and it'll show all of the liquidations of the shorts as prices are driving up higher and they're not letting go of their positions properly. They're letting themselves get liquidated. We see those on that Liquidation Watch. It's a sad thing to see. Now, into the MACD, it has crossed over. As we've been watching this histogram go positive, I was like jumping out of my seat as it was setting up here, and we got the pullback. We could certainly get the pullback now again, so let's zoom in on this like we saw the daily RSI diverging. Is it a divergence, or is it getting ready for the next run up? We'll see it crossing positive in the shorter time frames as we are running up, or if we're crashing. We're going to see this play out here. So if these histograms go negative again, we're going to see this pulling back, and it could be something important, right? We could come back to the 50% level and everybody freaks out, but it's just a normal part of building that massive top formation that is going to be breaking higher, right? When we saw that in the log view in the long time frame, this may take a few more hits at this top before it's really going to go up and through it fully. Let's zoom in on the time frames, and we're watching for this that appears to be a bearish divergence. Is this a bearish divergence, or is it the market gathering the steam so that this can go into a super overbought again? Let's go on to the Ichimoku cloud. This is touching against the green cloud, which, if we go back into history, there's only one time that we've come up against the bottom of the green cloud, and it wasn't successful. We came up against it, we touched it again, and then we went down for a while before we had that big bull run up. I'm assuming that we are now in a position like this. However, we are not yet above the cloud to be giving ourselves that kind of pat on the back that we are quite that bullish yet in the present time frame. So if I pull that forward now and see that I want it to be, and if we get up above that cloud, then we're going to be proving it out. But this points out to me that this could be a divergence that we would be happily going down a little bit, scaring the pants off everybody. Shorts on the futures exchange will be hammering the price down, and the big guys are going to be buying the blockchain Bitcoin from every Joe that they can get. And then we're going to go off. Maybe we'll get another one of those. And our 1, 2, 3 top formation is going to play it out. Let's go into the closer time frame. Here on the daily time frame, we've got the 1, 2, 3 top that we are being aware of now. Right, we've got those potential negative bearish divergences that may be the preparation for the next wave up. On the 12-hour time frame, we have to acknowledge this has crossed bearish and it hasn't crossed bullish yet. Let's go in closer time frame. On the 4-hour time frame, we did cross bearish. We went through the cloud. The 4-hour has crossed bullish from where we are, and yet the blue line and the red line are very far apart. They don't like that. They like to be closer together. So every time they get really far apart, they're likely to be coming closer together. And that sort of supports that this is a bearish divergence for the short term, and that prices could be coming back down into this cloud. So the Ichimoku cloud has become such an important indicator for me. As we get into the 1-hour time frame, now we can get some clarity. If it's bouncing up off of this cloud, if it's bouncing down through this cloud, we are getting our confirmation. Out of this triangle formation, we've got the 1, 2, 3 top right there, in addition to the 1, 2, 3 bottom that we're playing off of. And it always goes this way. We'll see which way it's going to go, and we have very clear lines now. Beautiful, really beautiful chart setup. Let's go into the Bollinger Bands, because this is our 3 pillars of, the bottom pillars that we had. There was only 3 of them in all of history. Right there, we can see this bottom pillar where the price went outside the 3rd standard deviation here on the weekly time frame. When we pull it all the way back forward, we can see there was only 2 more times. This was huge. We've really gone blasted right up. We're up above the midline, which is bullish territory. So for now, we are not in the uptrend fully. I want to see all 4 of these bands move to an upward angle here, as well as the midline, and then we are starting to go into our bull run. The Ichimoku cloud is really setting it up nicely. Let's go in the daily time frame. We've got the 1, 2, 3 top formation, narrowing bands, but again, this is the major driver here, is this mean reversion trade right there. We really got to pay attention to those mean reversions. They don't always work, especially when we are trending. This will not work, and it'll continue to bump up against that, pull back a little bit and run up against that again. So on the 12-hour time frame, we had this, it bumped up. I think we're uptrending. This is another good mean reversion set that we had, a couple of them, and I think we are trending. It could be a fight, I don't know. Let's go in. As we go into this time frame now, again, what I'm looking for is do we have a mean reversion at all, because they come at the unexpected times, and anytime there is one, I want to pay attention. This could be a 1, 2, 3 top formation, and we could get a pullback, and they happen sharp when they do. So let's zoom in just one more on the 1 hour time frame. Here's a mean reversion to the top side. Here we go. I love to see them. When this plays out, you can play it as well, right? We're getting the 1, 2, 3. This would be the trend continuation signal for me as it starts to pull up off of this. That's what I would be looking for, as this bottom comes down, makes the 1, 2, 3. And if you give me a mean reversion while you're making the 1, 2, 3 trend continuation, okay, I'm more willing to play a little wee trade off of that and get my stop up above my entry and then see what happens. Finally, let's go back to this panel. We can see that it's looking bullish for me because of the divergence here, that this is crossing positive as we're setting up. I want it to be bullish, but we can see in the Ichimoku cloud that after reviewing it closely, technical analysis isn't really following my opinion 100% yet. We could have some more sideways and everything to go on before we see it. The 1 hour Ichimoku is going to give us the most clarity, I would have to say. And let's close by taking a look at Bitcoin dominance. We can see that it is technically in an uptrend. It has made a 1, 2, 3 trend continuation breakout, and dominance going higher from here is altcoins getting wrecked. If Bitcoin is going to break out and go parabolic, it is very likely the alt could just get wrecked really fast, as they pretty much stand still and Bitcoin is lapping them. And that's going to make their price versus Bitcoin go way, way down. So be aware that that is a potential from here. What I'm wanting, rather than what I'm seeing, is that we really are on this trend. You see how the bands are on an angle downward, that we have made a 1, 2, 3 top formation, and that the dominance has come underneath this and is now failing right there. And if it is, we have a short sell signal here, which would support altcoins taking off. So as I zoom in on this, I'm watching for the mean reversions. Is there any here on the daily time frame that we could look at? Here's the 1, 2, 3 top. As we go into the different time frames, we can see that this is actually a double top from here, and we've got some pretty clear lines, if I could draw it straight, where should Bitcoin dominance be breaking down from here, alts are taking off, and trust it. Go with it. They are taking off with Bitcoin too, and gold and silver and the rest of the world that is going into hyperinflation. I expect it. However, if Bitcoin is taking off and the alts are getting crushed by it, then we're going to see it here in this chart. We're going to see this spike up, and then I expect spiking back down as money starts coming into the alts. I don't know which way it's going to go, so I don't know which way prices are going to go. But the Bull Market Watch spreadsheet has already done the heavy lifting for us, because in February it got us out of most of the alts. It recognized in January when it was starting, so we started to build our positions all the way through February. We're building and building and building, but coronavirus hit, and even though the system didn't know about coronavirus, it knew everything was topping out and that we should be getting out. Most everybody stayed kind of bullish, and we can see the alerts were really great. Everything stayed right at the edge of ready to buy, but we stayed out. We stayed in Bitcoin. And so as prices of Bitcoin is going up and the alts are getting crushed, we are benefiting. We have the Bitcoin now, and alts are worth less in Bitcoin value, the same in US dollar value. So we can buy more alts with the Bitcoin we have because it's gone up in value. This is a phenomenal system. And if you're not part of the Bull Market Watch, grab it now so that you can get prepared and do all of the readiness before the Bull Market Watch takes off. So you are prepared for when these things go into alert status, you can come and check them right away. And if they go into hold status and they match your requirements, you're golden. That's what we're offering. That's the best stuff out there. Now, let's go back to the longs and shorts. I'm going to go over to the Bitcoin Liquidation Watch live stream, and I'm going to see what's going on with the price of Bitcoin. As this drops or as it rises, one side or the other is going to get wrecked. Thanks again for watching. I love doing these videos. They're a great resource for me to look back on personally in 6 months to see, what was I thinking? And I hope they're helpful for you too. Hit the thumbs up, subscribe, hit the bell icon, but most of all, join us over on Discord. Ciao.